right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Socially Connected 360, episode 4 in the house. We have a great one for you today. We got a gentleman who has led in education, who has led in our community. We're excited to have him here. Someone who I know and I've worked with in the past, and my co-host today, Gio Negron-Garcia. The Garcia brothers are back.
Yes.
So we're going to have Gio on the show with us today, helping us out. Rightfully so. I know they work together on an initiative we're going to talk about later on in the episode. But yeah, so Gio, what's up, man? Intro yourself.
Listen. I was on episode 1 and I said, Luiz, how can I get back? And he said, I'm interviewing an all-star today. And I said, who is that all-star? He said, Steve Flavell. And I said, I got to be on today. I got to co-host this. Everybody, my name is Gio Negron-Garcia. I am the creator and founder of the Pizza Time Chronicle. So if you saw G-Slice, remember never to get lost in the pizza sauce. But everybody, that's who I am. I'm so excited to be here.
Good deal, man. We talked about this in the past about you coming on, co-hosting a couple shows. I appreciate you. Obviously, your energy. I'm not gonna be able to match that energy. I'm 41 years old, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. We got Steve Flavell on the show. He's the Chief Operating Officer, according to their website, at the Executive Academy Charter School, Executive Education Academy Charter School, which is a growing institution in our area. Let me tell you, this school right here, man, Steve could tell you, and I'm gonna let him talk about it. But I see that you're doing wonderful things in sports. I mean, in the community. I mean, kids are coming back hybrid. Your school is growing. How you been, Steve? Tell us a little bit about yourself right now and your school and everything that's going on.
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me on. I know you both real well. Obviously worked with both of you in the past, so I'm really excited to be a part of this. And it's great to see you guys virtually, even though I do see you guys every now and again face to face. But I'm doing well. Executive Education Academy Charter School is doing great. We're in a hybrid situation right now. We have some families and students and parents elected to keep their kids at home, and we have some that are coming back into the school in hybrid fashion. We have an A group, they come Monday, Tuesday. We have a B group, they come Thursday, Friday. And we have a C group, which is our higher needs learners, you could say, and they come back 4 days a week. We have about 45% of our student population coming back in the building, getting educational services, and then the rest of them are staying at home, learning out of the house because they don't feel that safe because of COVID. I personally think it's because they're waiting to see kind of like what goes on and what happens. So Q4, we're throwing around a bunch of things. That's about around April 12th. We're figuring out what to do, if we should stay hybrid, open up more time, less time, make some adjustments to meet the needs of our families and students that we serve.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I see you won in basketball. Tell us a little bit about
We won districts again, 30 in a row, three-peat.
Oh man, congratulations on
Thank
that,
you. Man.
Congratulations on that. I mean, again, that shows the leadership at that school. You guys are doing wonderful things. I know Gio's been watching the football. We've been watching the football. Now you have a football team coming. Tell us a little bit about that. How's that coming along?
So Mr. Lysick, he announced that, I'm going to say a couple of weeks ago, caught a lot of momentum around it. Football's huge in the Lehigh Valley, obviously. Mr. Lysick, big football player. He's always wanted, we've talked about it. I'm a wrestler. The first sport we got going was wrestling, which was fun. Not having the success that the basketball team's having, unfortunately, but we got a bunch of sports, which is cool. Football's huge. If you know anything about like high school athletics, even college athletics, I coached college for a little bit. If you have a good football program, it trickles down to all your other sports. It doesn't matter. Football's a monster of a athletic program. So if you have a good football team, it runs over into your wrestling team, your basketball team, your track and field team, because it requires so many athletes. The more athletes you have, the more you can push them into other directions, and it just helps out everything. So we're super jacked about getting football going. We got Larry Ford, who's a former Steelhawk. He's an administrator in our school. He's our head football coach. We really like the way he operates and how he carries himself. And he's I don't want to like disrespect him or anything, or like talk bad about him. He might not be a typical X and O's coach, but he's definitely the guy that's going to get the most out of the kids. And that's what we're looking for. People who can get the most out of our kids, because the rest of it you can do. You know, he can learn the X's and O's, but you really need dynamic people to motivate children, get them engaged, you know, get them to come to school, performing well in the classroom. And one thing we really do well, what I think we really do well at the charter school, is we have a comprehensive approach to the child. It's not just about academics, which is very, very important, probably the most important thing you can do as a academic institution. But there's a whole experience when you go to high school, or when you go to any school. You know, there's school activities, there's athletics, there's community involvement, there's obviously your academics. And what we're really trying to robust our total school programming, so that when kids come to our school, they can have a very typical full experience, just like they would if they went to Deerf, Allen, Liberty, anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, when I think of your coach there, I think of Gio's energy, man. You might want to recruit Gio to be part of that coaching squad. But I got a couple questions. I know Gio has a couple questions. It's great that executive is doing wonderful things. I love to see the educational system or institutions in our area be successful, because that means that our children have a better chance at the two things we're talking about today, which is leadership in education, right? Or leadership and education. So my first question to you is, why teaching for you? Why teaching?
That's a funny question. So I'm originally from England. If you can't tell, I talk real funny, kind of talk fast. My words like mumble together. I have a horrific accent. I will not watch this after we record it, because I cannot stand hearing myself speak. It's like nails going through a chalkboard. But I moved over to the United States when I was 13. I went to school in California, then I moved to Massachusetts. I went to school in Massachusetts, then I went to Pennsylvania. I went to school in Pennsylvania. I went to 3 different high schools in 3 different states. Wow. A lot of change. I mean, it's good and bad to that. I'm not complaining at all. There's things that worked out for me, things that didn't work out for me. But the one constant that was in my life through all that change was school. So changing friends all the time, changing teachers all the time, really not developing those relationships that really kept you like, you know, grounded. I'm sure when you talk to people who went to the same like middle school and high school, or the same town I grew up in, they can talk, I had this mentor, that mentor, that mentor. Mm-hmm. I didn't have that so much with relationships from the school. The only thing that was constant was school. So I was always intrigued in school. And then I always had, like I said, I wrestled before. I always had good relationship with my coaches. Those were the guys that were like my mentors and helped me out. Mm-hmm. So my high school wrestling coach was a business teacher. And when I graduated high school, I wanted to be a business teacher too and coach wrestling. Obviously didn't take that course. It worked out very differently for me. But it's kind of, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach business, be a computer teacher, coach wrestling, and just kind of go your typical track. I always liked working with kids. I worked at a children outpatient psychiatric facility in Doylestown, and you work with really, really acute kids with, you know, dual diagnosis, extreme behavior issues, things like that. And I was always able to work well with those difficult kids just based off of rapport and like a sense of humor. So I was always able to develop a rapport with a kid and kind of neutralize the behavior with a sense of humor. I applied when I graduated college. I applied for a computer teacher job in North Philadelphia at an alternative education school. Took the same kind of approach, just using wit, humor, and gaining rapport with kids. Yeah. Had some success there. That's where I met Mr. Lysick, actually. So Bob hired me right out of college. That's how I met him. Oh. And that's that connection when we started executive ed. Just liked working with kids, and more difficult the kid, the more challenging and rewarding it was. Started working for private companies, did a bunch of different projects, left that private company, went to another private company in education, traveled around the country setting up programs for special populations, special ed, alternative ed. I had a blast doing it. It was fun. It was fast paced. And then in Philadelphia, Arlene Ackerman, which is like 3 superintendents ago, I believe, she started the Renaissance movement in Philadelphia, where they chartered out low-performing schools. I got hooked into the charter movement, supporting schools, and then got introduced to an attorney. He's like, "Hey, man, this is like the greatest thing I've ever seen. If you've come to executive, you'll see we operate very, very differently than
I've been there.
than a regular, like you say, like public school." And we were using that approach in private ed and supporting charter schools in Philadelphia. This attorney is like, "Man, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. You got to do this for yourself. Start your own charter school." I don't know anything about charter schools. We do private ed. It's like, well, I can help you out. That's what I do. Made that connection, petition Allentown, got a charter school, start off with 420 kids, 7 years later, 1,300 plus, K through 12. You guys know, you've both been there, seen it. It's a massive monster now. It's like its own little world.
Love it, man. Love it.
Yeah.
And that's why we have this show, man, because it's important that we know and we get to know those leaders that have risen to where you're at, right? Every time I go to executive education, I could see that the leadership has really taken that school to a different level, and it trickles down. I know people don't like to use that term, but we're not in politics. But it trickles down to the teachers, and then obviously the students. I mean, the way you run your assemblies throughout the day. I mean, it's just, you can feel the energy in the school, and then obviously through everything else. So I just wanted to learn about that. Every time I speak to someone, I always ask them that question. Why this or why that? Why you get in business? Why you get in teaching? And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So I applaud you, man.
Yeah, everyone's got a story, man. I love hearing people's stories. When I first met Gio, I'm always asking him about like his journey and like where he was, what he's doing. I'm not the greatest storyteller, but I love to hear a good story about where people are. I mean, you learn a lot about people that way.
Great. And listen, if you want to hear my whole story again, make sure you check out episode 1. Shameless plug right there. But listen, when I went to Executive Education Academy, charter school, I was really impressed because not only when you share your story, you can really sense your passion. You really study the flaws of when you went to high school, and you, in my opinion, you perfected that when you got to Allentown. God, that school is amazing. Now, my question to you is, knowing COVID-19, it ruined a lot of our plans.
Yeah.
It ruined the momentum for a lot of things when it came to education. So how has COVID changed the idea of education now and moving forward?
Well, it's kind of why I'm on this new endeavor that Luiz is a part of. So the one positive that came out of it is we had been toying around with pushing a big tech initiative at the school, but really worried about the pushback from our teaching staff, and pushback, not that they don't want to do it, but it's just a new task that they've got to figure out. It's something new they've got to learn. Being a teacher is one of the, I don't want to say strenuous, because if you really have a passion for teaching, you probably find fun in it. But taxing is probably the best word. It's one of the most taxing jobs you can have out there. I was in the classroom for 2 years. And when I got out, man, there's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. It's just that being a teacher, like I said, is one of the most taxing jobs there is out there. You got parents, students, admin, compliance from the state. Like, it's just a constant bombardment of get this done, get this done, get this done, get this done. So proposing another initiative, we're always looking for the right timing. So like, we'll do it next year. We'll start it in the summer. We'll do it here. We'll do it then. Then COVID happens, and everything comes to a boom, screeching halt.
Everything stopped.
Yeah, exactly. So then, but the opportunity that came out of it, I'm big into like opportunities. Like when stuff's bad, where's the opportunity in things? I always try and like look at the brighter side of stuff. So the opportunity that came out of it was that teachers are now forced into technology and using it. You got teachers that don't want to use it. You got teachers that don't have a skill set to use it. You got teachers that tinker with it. You got teachers that are great at it. You got the full gamut, in our teacher staff of their level of comfortability with technology. But now they're all forced into it. And we were able to iron out a lot of kinks, and really kind of test like a one-to-one initiative, because every kid got a device, every teacher had multiple devices. It's just everybody got pushed into technology now. So with COVID coming, the technology initiative, what we kind of always wanted to push, really came to fruition. We're able to really push it now, and our teacher capacity of work with technology went through the roof. Where before we're like, oh man, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? Where's the teacher training on all this? And we pretty much kicked them all into the deep end of a pool and hope they swim. They all did. That's the best way to learn.
Deep water. I talk about it on my runs. I talk about it in the workout. When I do my workouts, you got to train for this. Like, it's life. You know what I'm saying?
You got to adapt.
Yeah, like Gio right now, he's in deep waters right now with everything he's doing in his life. And you with, obviously everything you guys are doing at Executive, and all of us with COVID-19. But you're right, man. Yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
So seeing the opportunity that with teachers and pushing this technology initiative, kids are in technology all the time. My kids, everything they touch, they try to swipe with a finger. They're just around it. My kids are young. They're 7 and 8 and 10. Everything they touch. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Siri. Swiping stuff. Like the old TV, they go up and try and swipe it. So our kids are, the gap between like our age, not so much you, Gio, because we're a little bit older than you, but our age and where kids are is huge with their comfortability with technology and how comfortable they are using it. So us providing technology to them and getting them to use it, and then providing an environment where they are using it, and starting to create a culture where kids are the stewards of their own learning, and teachers are more just facilitators and using technology to facilitate that learning. Because once kids are connected and they've got unlimited access to information, they've got devices that can get them to information, learning really, really looks different. So that parlays into Executive Education Cyber Charter School, which is a new initiative I'm trying to work on. Petition the state to get a cyber charter. We got denied first round. We've got to get our application, our resubmission in April. But that's really to provide an opportunity for the families we serve. So one thing I'm worried about is we come September, I'm optimistic. I'm hoping the COVID pandemic kind of settles and people feel comfortable coming back out and getting the swing of things. But I think there's a big contingent of our families that aren't going to want to come to school. And are we going to have to say goodbye to them and find another place to go to, or do we have an option for them? And that's where the cyber charter comes in, is providing an option for virtual learning with people they know, administration we've been working with since their kids been in kindergarten or whatever grade it is, and just really for us trying to provide a continuum of services that can provide many options for many people. I'm a big believer in school choice, but I'm also a big believer in accountability. If you're a good school, you should stick around. If you're a bad school, you get held accountable. I really believe that. There's some legislation, obviously at the state level, where it's not an apples to apples approach, and I really believe they should try to, there's gripes about the funding formula, and some of that is fair. I would agree with that. There's gripes about accountability, and some of that is fair, but that goes on both sides. So, I'm pro public, I'm pro private, I'm pro charter, I'm just pro good programming. If you're a good school, hey man, rock out. We're there. We're trying to do the same thing you are too. If you're a bad school, you should get held accountable and look for different options.
Absolutely. So the educational aspect of it is extremely important, right? So I learned, and a lot of us have learned, because obviously in Pennsylvania, charters are, I wouldn't say fairly new because we know the history, but as far as taking a big leap into like the forefront, right? I learned in the last couple of years that obviously the tax dollars follows the student, and the family should have that right and to choose. So like you said, I'm also I'm pro good education for the child, and if we can give options, extremely important. So we talked about education. Today's show is about leadership in education. Let's touch a little bit on the leadership aspect. What leadership personality traits do you think that teachers need to be successful? Like, what do you think as far, because you mentioned it earlier about how taxing it is at times. It's very rewarding, but what do you think, somebody that's watching this show that wants to be a teacher or wants to be, in the admin side, what leadership traits do you think are important?
The number one thing I look for when we're hiring teachers, and even just promoting teachers to like admin, is rapport building. You got to be able to build rapport with kids. I remember when I went through my when I went into student teaching, I was at a middle school in Bucks County. It was with my high school wrestling coach of all people. And he's just like, just talk to kids, man. Just go around and talk to them. Just get to know every single kid. Like the first 2 weeks, I come with a big bag full of lesson plans and textbooks with how to write objectives and content materials. And I thought I was going to be like scribbling and writing all day. He's like, just go and talk to kids. And that stuck with me forever. Then I worked in private ed, and one of their values was rapport building of the organization I worked for, and that aligned with just what I was taught to do. And I see the value of that. Just if you could build rapport with kids and parents, you don't have to worry about. I'm sure it's the same. I mean, you're a police officer. I'm sure it's the same thing on the street. Just build rapport with people.
Yeah.
You can't be. Yeah. It's like common sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just rapport building skills and being able to talk to kids where you can kind of correct them when you need to correct them, and you can support them when you need to support them. You should be able to maneuver the kid with how you approach it.
Yeah, that's leadership. I mean, if you look at every leader that's been successful, they got to be able to have that rapport with the people that they're either leading or their subordinates or even their coworkers or other leaders. Right. Other areas that, districts have to help each other and different schools, institutions have to respect and obviously do those type of things, especially as a teacher. You're leading children that sometimes don't have any type of leadership in their home.
Yeah.
So that within itself is another challenge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree, man. Rapport building is huge.
And you see rapport translate into presence where, again, you're in law enforcement. I'm sure it's the same thing. Having a presence around kids. A big part of why we have assembly is if you can control the masses of 200 kids sitting down, controlling a classroom of 20 kids is nothing. So having the systems like that where you get to practice rapport building constantly, you get to practice the use of presence constantly and how those two relate to each other really make, in my opinion, a successful person working with children. Now, there's other factors. You have to have good content knowledge so that you can be a good teacher. You can't just be hammering up with kids all day and not know anything about high school algebra. Content knowledge and stuff goes into it, but you have to have a personal side of things. Because it doesn't matter how much content kids aren't going to relate to you. If kids can't relate to you, they can't talk to you, they don't feel like hammering it up, they're gonna blow you off and they take you seriously. I mean, you're not even teaching math, you're putting out fires all day long.
Absolutely.
When we're talking about leadership, obviously we need resources. We always need something to depend on so that when we're trying to build our leadership, when we're trying to develop ourselves, we need to know where to go. So my question to you is, what are the best resources that have helped you become successful in leadership?
I don't know about so much resources. I mean, I got my bachelor's in secondary ed, got a master's in ed leadership. I've taken coursework for superintendency. So there's coursework, obviously, that helps you with that. But I don't really know if that's really parlays into leadership. But one thing I would say is definitely experiences. I'm very, very fortunate, but my professional career started young, where I was, working in a lot of different schools and organizations. I was able to try things on a programming end, but worked, watched them fail. I've consulted with school districts and private charter organizations, same thing. Try things that work, try things that fail. So my experience has afforded me a lot of success and a lot of failure. And you'll learn a lot. When things work, man, this is great. When things don't work, like, whoa, really have to change that approach. So I've been very fortunate with the amount of experience I've had at a young age to when we came to executive, I was pretty much ready to go and kind of just roll it all out. Same with Bob Lysick. he's way older than me.
Oh, here we go. On Socially Connected 360, we got a shout out to Mr. Lysing. Rob.
So,
man, we're gonna have to.
So he's a lot older than me. Got gray hair and everything.
Oh man.
So he
old man strength.
Same thing with him. He's been very fortunate enough, had the experience a lot more than me because of his age, to practice things and refine them. So when we came to Allentown to roll out executive education on the programming side, we were able to kind of execute flawlessly. As a result of that is we need to realign our resources to focus on academic achievement, academic growth. But as far as providing a safe environment where parents feel safe sending their kids to school, kids are bought in, families bought in, that kind of stuff, executed it with a little issue.
Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. In life, man, we got to have those people around us, right? We talked about in my last podcast, right? You are who you surround yourself with. And Rob might be older, but I'm telling you, that guy looks strong as heck. I seen him with his polos in the morning in the lives. I don't know. I know you got a good wrestling team too over there. So you might he might have to call you out and get on the mat, man.
Yeah, he's a burly guy. We've actually he wrestled a Becca for a year. I do jiu-jitsu now. I get him to train jiu-jitsu too. So we roll around a little bit. I'm just giving him a hard. The Bob's like a big brother to me, so I can give him a hard time.
Shout out to him, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always accepted us, always brought us in and gave us those wonderful tours, and even just brought us out to do some speeches. I know Gio's worked with you guys for some stuff. But real quick, so we got a couple more things to cover, nothing major. I wanted to ask you, you're doing all these things. You kind of hinted into the cyber. What's next for you, man? What's next for you as far as, are you looking to like kick off this cyber or what's next for Steve?
That's so I definitely have like a very entrepreneurial mindset. I got like a touch of ADD, which makes me bounce around to different things. Probably part of the reason why I pioneered the idea of starting a cyber charter school. But getting cyber charter school off the ground, it'd be great if we could expand executive education. Me and Gio were in Reading. Gio's originally from Reading, where the Pizza Chronicles is. We were around there just talking to community people, gauging interest in Reading about a brick and mortar charter school at that point. But I'd really like to expand what we do. I do other stuff in education too. Work with a couple of private academic schools. So I have I got a lot of stuff going on, dabbling as much as I can. I'm one of those people that can't really be idle. My mind's always thinking about, much like both of you guys. You guys are always adding more to your plate, doing more and more stuff. Some
my
people
plate's not full.
Yeah.
My plate can't be full no more.
Some people are just wired that way. Like, what's the next? It's like a rush. What's the next thing we can do? What's the next thing we can do? And you guys are wired the exact same way, so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's hitting home. That's why you guys are nodding your heads. I don't have an idle mind. So once we get the cyber charter going, take a couple of years. Love to expand the brick and mortar charter school, so we take more kids. We've got a waiting list of like 800 families or 800 students right now. And because of the way charter school law is written, we're capped with Allentown. So that there's a lot of stuff out there for us to do. It just takes a little energy and finances and resources and time, which no one, time's a scarce resource of them all.
I mean, Steve, you don't want to say it, but you also want to attempt the record of eating the most tacos, because you're always talking about tacos for some reason. Showing me around. So that's going to be next for Steve too. He's just going to eat the most tacos in the world. Yeah. Just wait for it.
Yeah, I can crush tacos, that's for sure.
Everybody loves tacos. It's great.
Tacos, education, leadership, you name it, we're going to talk about it on Socially Connected 360, man. That's the thing about our show, man. That's why, and one of the things is, we want to connect people, right? So that's our mission, right? We talked about it. Gio was on the first show. I got Steve on this show. We got other people coming on. We got some summits happening. We ain't gonna really touch on that because that's gonna be another show. But that's why this show is important, right? So now we connected a chief operating officer, to which you already people know who you are, but we want to be able to just put you everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, YouTube. I mean, we put the show everywhere, and we want to make sure that everybody knows who is part responsible for this massive executive education academy charter school. And I know Gio was going to talk about a little bit further, the cyber school. We want to make sure that people are connected to you and know that you're part of that.
That's great. I appreciate it.
Gio, when you went to the school, what was your first reaction? I know you're the co-host, but what was your first reaction when you went to that school?
I was blown away. I was just blown away. And my father's always with me. He doesn't even like school. I'm calling my father out right now, but he didn't even like school. When he was there, he actually enjoyed it. And my first impression was it was a college. As if I went there, I was visiting a college. It was that massive that I was just impressed. I was blown away. And I'm coming from Reading High School. And, our school it's big, it's huge too, If you've never been there before, you'll get blown away by it as well. But it was just, everything was organized.
It's like you're about to get blown away by that palm tree in the back right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's great. Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you, man. This, I'm proud of all of you guys. We're proud of all of you guys over at Executive. And, this cyber initiative, I think it's great. I think that our community, our state can benefit from this cyber. If obviously you can build and grow a brick and mortar to the point where you guys are at now, right? The cyber is just another level of just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, just another option.
Yeah.
And when you have 1,300 kids in the school, which only took like 5 or 6 years, and you have a waiting list of 800, it's just lower numbers. It shows you there's a need in the community. Like, people aren't happy with some of the options they have. If people were happy and pleased, we'd have 0 people in our school. But that's just not the case.
Yeah.
So numbers and data tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're gonna give our parting shots here, folks. I'm gonna let Gio go first because obviously he's the co-host. And when I'm the co-host on Pizza Time Chronicles, in the future, I know I'm gonna give the final, saying goodbyes. But I'm gonna let Gio go first on this one.
Listen, everybody. You can't get too lost in the pizza sauce or your head is going to go 360. See, I can do word game. It's getting good. It's getting better. I'm telling you, you can use that phrase.
Man.
Give us that one more time because I like that.
Everybody, remember, you can't get too lost in the pizza sauce because, your head will go 360. Everybody, until next time, let's go.
That's my man, Gio. He always bringing the energy, man.
Yep.
Steve, on behalf of Socially Connected 360, myself and Gio, man, thank you for being on our show. It's always an honor to work with you as passionate,
likewise.
As passionate as you are about
if I could add one more thing, we
Absolutely.
have part of the application process is a petition. If you go on Facebook and look at Executive Education Academy Charter School and Executive Education Cyber Charter School, we have a petition pinned to the top of our page. Anyone in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania can sign that. If you could sign that and support us, like it, share it, that'd be absolutely huge. With COVID, getting petitions done is a little tough, so we're relying on the electronic option.
I got to bring you on Socially Connected 360 because you just plugged in what I was supposed to ask you at the end is where people can find you or how can people connect with you. And you already plugged it in. And that's why I love working with you. Thank you for doing this show, man. Like I said, it's an honor on behalf of us. We talked about leadership and your rise. We talked about education. We talked about your new initiative, your cyber academy charter school. So we're excited. And again, it's an honor. And it's always good to have you on the show, man.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Love you, fellas, man. Everyone have a great day.
And like I always say, stay connected.